Hey everyone, how's it going? So this week I want to do a more integrated right side version of the 90-90 hip lift. So if you can recall from previous videos, the 90-90 is the first warm-up drill or reset that I teach people when they come in to see me. But we don't stay there. We have to evolve the drill to incorporate more of a right side bias. And this drill is going to show you how I implement that. So unlike the first video where I didn't really talk about the neck position all that much, for this drill, you're gonna want a rolled up towel. So it's about this size. You're gonna need this to support the back of your neck. So ideally, we're gonna need 30 degrees of lordosis in our cervical spine. Basically, we don't want this flat, retracted neck. We want to have this towel on the base of our neck, not really on our head, so that we can get into some natural extension. It should feel almost like you can let your neck be supported by the towel. You don't want to have any space between the towel and your neck. It's there for the purpose of holding up your neck. But you should have just the slightest contact from the back of your head on the ground as well. So once again, the towel is supporting the back of my neck. My chin is in a little bit of extension, and I can just relax and let the weight of my neck fall on the towel. So from here, my feet are together, my knees are together. I'm gonna pull my heels down and back towards my hips. And here's something you have to understand. The hamstrings have two functions. They flex the knee and they extend the hip. So in this position, you are not allowing the hamstrings to extend the knee. So your focus has to rely on higher hamstrings that are going to extend the pelvis, okay? That's the mechanism that allows you to lift up your hips, all right? So from here, you're gonna drag your heels down and back slowly until you feel upper hamstrings. Then you continue that process until you're able to lift. Once here, relax the belly because it's not helping you. If you feel the tightening in your belly, you're using rectus abdominis, and you don't really want that right now. It has poor leverage for what we're about to ask you to do. In this position, you're gonna shift most of the pressure 60-40 to your right heel, 70-30, 80-20. Now, right around 80-20, what you can start to do is you can start to slide the right hip back, kind of like from last week's drill. And if you're looking at me from above, you'll notice that my right hip is moving towards my right shoulder, okay? So you can see this little bit of separation here. I'm feeling a ton of medial hamstring and inner thigh, all right? So from this position, I'm gonna take my shoulder blade and reach it towards the ceiling. So I can feel my humerus, the bone of my humerus is constantly ascending towards the ceiling. And I pay attention to that before every inhale and before every exhale. So if you want to make this a little harder, you can shift all of your weight to that right side by just picking up that leg, but you're still getting that hip shift. And with this, you're going to exhale. One thing that I want you to notice with that drill is as you exhale, you're going to pay attention to a few things. You're still going to pay attention to inner thigh, medial hamstring. You're going to feel serratus kick in as you're reaching. You're going to feel your bones reaching forward. You're going to feel a lack of tension in your neck because it's being supported by the towel. But when it comes to the exhale, and this is something that I was going over with a fellow trainer this morning, and she realized that as simple a concept as it is to exhale all of your air, the nuances of what that's actually supposed to feel like can be pretty heavy. So you're feeling your obliques kick in a very organic way because they're trying to pull down on the ribs, but it's not from an act of crunching. So you're maintaining this relatively neutral spine as you feel your obliques work in opposition to close down your ribs. You're also feeling the sternum get closer and start to approach the spine. So the entirety of the rib cage is actually closing down, and then you're maintaining that pressure on the lower abdomen as you inhale. So you're not allowing the lower ribs really to just expand into belly breathing, because what happens with this drill is that the exhale is positioning you into maximum compression on one side of the body. If you inhale And one of the things that you'll notice on the inhale when you don't do this successfully, you'll start to feel this shoulder blade go into retraction and drop back to the ground, okay? It's about getting the position, acquiring this new position with an exhale, and then maintaining that position through a successful inhale. If you allow all of these bones on this right side to start to move and expand, you've lost the position you've worked so hard to acquire with the exhale. Okay? There's another reason why if you hear people talk about you have to train the posterior chain, you got to train your hamstrings, you got to train all these things, you are essentially using strength to acquire a relatively basic position neurologically. Okay? So you're using all of this tension to get you to these positions. And it's why if you keep doing that and keep relying on this strategy, long term, you won't be able to get any of the benefits that these positions can offer you. Because now you're using a high cost strategy in order to acquire these starting loading positions, these initial loading positions. So that's something to consider as well. Notice how I cued you through this is that you're using your heels, you're using the process, you're using the understanding of what hamstrings actually do in order to elicit a response. Okay, I didn't tell you to just hike your hips up, because that's a completely different thing. Now this becomes a more of a strength training exercise rather than a tool that will allow you to better understand how to manage the bones inside of your body, because that's really what it comes down to. Do you really understand the relationship between you, your body, and gravity? And that's what this drill does. A lot of people will greatly improve their range of motion, their aberrant tension will be reduced just by being able to successfully accomplish or troubleshoot this drill. Some common things that you'll experience will be you'll start to use calves to get this drill done. You'll start to do things with your feet, either point them or pull them back. You may even feel quads. You'll start to feel anterior neck. You will start to feel the other leg musculature starting to kick in to try to help you manage this new position. Lower back could be a thing that you could try to use in order to accomplish the greater task. Okay, so this is one of the real starting points. I know I said that with previous drills, but this is really where we start to see what strategies people like to use in order to handle load when they're shifting to one side. All right, stay tuned for next week. I'll probably start breaking down actual strength training drills like a lunge or a squat, something like that, using this paradigm. All right, and if you guys have any requests or would like to see anything more specific from me, feel free to drop a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next week.